Ever since the dawn of man, we've always fantasized of doing nothing. It's so well known, I wouldn't be surprised that it's sketched on some random rock in the middle of nowhere. Chuck thy shit to another so I could play Xbox, and also shine thy rod to some hentai animal monsters that are 1,000 years old. And they're monsters. And they also have big dicks. Also, thy want Doritos. But to go ahead and cut this short because we're already 30 seconds in. A couple centuries later, we tried slavery and, well, that didn't really work out, didn't it? I wonder who's the retard that came up with that idea. Which leads us to the modern century, where today we're going to be talking about Neo. Now, already you probably already know who Neo is because I am slow as shit when it comes to the news. Neo is the first companion bot that will actually clean up your shit. Not only that, but it's the first humanoid robot that not only cleans, but it's something that you can buy right now. That's right, for a low price, you could buy this thing for $20,000. Or you could pay $500 monthly to have it, I guess, walk around your house and, you know, clean for you, I guess. Which I have no clue on how that works. Maybe they just monitor through the camera, and if you try to steal it or do something, I guess they just give it like a red alert or something. I don't know. Even knowing $20,000 sounds not too bad, especially when you look at the market of these things, still, $20,000 is $20,000. Now, I'm not trying to gross you guys out, and, you know, I've already hit my quota when it comes to fucked up jokes in this video, but fuck it, someone's gotta say it. Can this thing actually jerk you off? Because that's the only reason I could think of spending $20,000 on this thing. And don't get me wrong, $20,000 sounds like it sounds pretty good price point, but maybe it's because I'm so Mr. Krabs with my money that maybe like 15,000 or 10,000 would be a better price point. But hey, maybe that's just me. And I'm sorry, I have this weird tendency to try to be real. But the day that you can have a robot on the market that can do everything, and I mean everything, without having to say that certain everything, that's the day I'll finally find peace. Because yeah, sure, the world might burn down because of these things, but at least my mind will be at peace of, oh fuck, I'm going to die alone, the fucking anxiety, because fleshy women don't think I'm attractive. At least in that situation, if the world would burn, I would be happy, and that's all that matters. Call me weird, but we all know in 15 years it'll be normal anyway, so what's the point? But I'm sorry about that, I went on a tangent. We haven't seen Neo actually doing things, so let's look at that.
It's just the world around us is made for us. Infrastructure changes incredibly slowly, and I think it's going to be a long time until society is kind of adopted to robots.
Recently, 1X Technologies opened pre-orders for Neo, its home humanoid robot. You may have caught my first video, where Neo did various household chores, but was actually being teleoperated by a company employee in a VR headset.
Wait, this thing's not automated? Aw, fuck! $20,000 just to do that? Dude, I could have bought a Mexican for like cheaper. Dude, bruh, all you need is $20 and a Pepsi, and he'll bring out the ladder and the shingles. What's my $20,000 going to?
Might start to get mainstream adoption.
Neo, it's 70 degrees here in California. Why are you wearing a sweater?
Good question. Burnt, why am I wearing a sweater?
Look, Kevin, we all know you're in the other room. You could stop playing the robot act now. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me when Eric Cartman dressed up as Osimo, and he tried to get Butters to do something, and then he found out that Butters had an embarrassing video of him, and so he had to stay in the suit for like a couple of weeks. It would be so funny in the middle of this interview, just some like malnourished, like skinny man comes out and it's just like,
"Please, master, I haven't had water in days. I need sustenance."
and this guy goes like, "No bitch, go eat the toothpaste."
It knows I'm here, it's fine, it's not going to run into me, like these kind of things. Also, when you're transferring knowledge from humans into a machine, because that is essentially what we're doing with Neo, right? We're taking as much as possible of what is like human knowledge, both from a theoretical perspective, but also from how you do tasks, and we transfer this to the machine. You want these two modalities to be as close as possible so that that transfer is as smooth as possible.
You just define what teleoperation is.
Teleoperation is essentially when there is a human in the loop to help make decisions for the robot. This is essentially the same as if you take a Waymo today. Then the car is driving by itself, but there is someone monitoring multiple cars, and if the car gets into a situation where it's unsure what to do, we'll help the car actually make the decision so that the car can continue successfully. This is the same thing, just done for robotics.
Oh wait, so you can make it learn to jerk yourself off. So that kind of makes me ask the question, so is it like, can you teach the robot to do this? Or is like, do you have to like get someone operating it to do it? Because that would be like a weird situation right there. Wait, how would that work? Because like, when you have to like slip them on 20 or something? I think that's actually a really good question. I know Asmongold went like up and beyond with like, is it illegal for like a robot to do prostitution or not? But here's another thing to think about, right? Let's say the robots that we get right now have to be like human operated to like learn the task and be able to do it through like artificial intelligence, right? If you told a robot to jerk yourself off and the human operator doesn't want to do it, and you have full knowledge that there's someone on the other side of the robot, wouldn't that at some point be illegal? Or like, would the robot just tell you no? Because if the AI in the robot doesn't know how to do it, then it's got to go over to a human operator, and then the human operator has to do it. But if the human operator doesn't want to do it, does the robot just say no? Or do you just get visited by the FBI? And if it does say no, do you like just get a refund for that? Or like maybe like a coupon to like Little Caesars or something? Like I said, you can call me weird for thinking about it, but at some point we're going to have to think about this. We might as well go ahead and start thinking about it now, because once robots get to that point where they have like the same equivalent of like a human arm, it's going to happen a lot.
And not in your home.
In a very personal space.
Yes. First of all, I think it's quite important for me to just say that in 2026, if you buy this product, it is because you're okay with that social contract. If we don't have your data, we can't make the product better. That being said, we want it to be on your terms, right? So we want to, of course, make sure that we respect privacy as much as possible and that it's always on your terms. You are always in control. Some examples of this is, of course, the teleoperator does not see you, right? We can blur people. Teleoperator also cannot go into specific parts of your home where you set no-go zones. So that's enforced on the software level. So even if the teleoperator would try, they cannot get the robot to go into those homes. And also the teleoperator can never connect to a robot unless you approve it. The same goes when it comes to actually training on autonomous data. If something happens that you don't want anyone to see, you can go into your app and you can delete that segment of data. You shouldn't need to do so because we at 1X or anyone else can never see that data.
Right.
We don't have access to see that data. The model will train on the data, but people will not be allowed to see that data.
This is the part of the video where I'm going to be really serious about this. I remember showing my mother this video right when they said that it could be operated by a human while it's in your home because the robot needs to learn. My mother said, no, fuck that. Even though I think this guy is being as genuine as possible, but the thing is looks can be deceiving. But the idea of someone breaking your privacy in your own home is very creepy. And they say they can't look at your data or anything like that, but can you really trust them? Another thing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about either, what if the robot got hacked? Are you gonna sit here and just tell me that no one can hack a robot with cameras on it? I've already seen videos of people hacking Teslas and actually making it self-drive on its own. I don't think you could pull me away from reality to think that a robot cannot be hacked. If they can able to hack a robot and then remotely control the cameras, then they should be able to remove the blur, right? Just to make sure everybody knows, I don't know anything about coding, but I don't think that would be that hard to figure out, right? To me, it would just be trying to find the code that pretty much turns the blur on, right? And if that happened, that would just be even worse because it'd be some random stranger knowing what you do in your household. The more I keep thinking about this, the more I less think that this thing's a product and more of a red flag.
What can Neo do autonomously?
It can do most things autonomously, but it's not necessarily going to be to the quality that you want. So I'll give you an example. One of my favorite things to do in my home right now with my Neo is I can sit on the couch and I'm just like winding down for the day and reading, and someone knocks on the door and I say, hey Neo, can you go get the door? And Neo goes, gets the door, opens it up, says hi to the guest, and here Neo is running in companion mode, not like we had now, but the AI is actually speaking. And that works really well. And maybe 1 out of 10 times, Neo will like fiddle a bit with the door and I'm like, this isn't going well. And I'll go over and say like, hey Neo, take a few steps back. And the robot does that, and I say like, hey Neo, try again. Open the door. And now maybe it works. This is of course also how the system gets better, right?
Oh wow, it can automatically open a door. Dude, I could do that right now. Hey Ma! Ma! Open the door real quick! Love you!
This is from Crate and Barrel.
It can do some of the things in my dishwasher, depending on who put it in there and how it was put in there. So if you make it very hard to get things out of the dishwasher again, then it will require some assistance from someone helping the robot, usually through teleop, right? If things are pretty clean and tidy and easy, then yes, it can do it. And then the important part is to ensure that the model actually knows whether or not it thinks it will be successful. So that instead of failing by dropping a glass on the floor, it fails by trying to pick it up and say, oh no, I shouldn't do this. Might be able, but like the risk profile is to such an extent that I should not do this because I might actually fail at this. And this is a glass, so if I fail, it's actually pretty bad. If this was like
Damn
a teddy
it.
bear that I was picking up from the ground.
Butter
and the basket
fucking
over there,
fingers.
I'll just try. Because like the failure doesn't matter, right? I do expect that by the time you get this product, all these things will be working a lot better than it is today. Because it's progressing very fast.
So it can kind of do your dishwasher too, and maybe some other things. My conclusion is I don't think this thing's worth $20,000, but I do appreciate the guy being upfront and honest about it. But to me, it's almost like spending like $70 on our early access that's like half finished. Then you have the whole concept of someone being able to look inside your home or like control the robot while it's in your home. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who nope out of that. If you're looking for something like the Jetsons, you might have to wait a little longer. But tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, skiddly boppity boop. I'm out.